This is what women like. And no, it's not the answer you've been sold your whole life. It's not the six-pack abs. It's not the expensive car. It's not the paycheck, the chiseled jawline, or the ability to dominate a room with sheer bravado. Sure, those things might catch someone's attention for a moment, but they don't hold it. They don't create that deep, bone-sinking kind of attraction, the kind that makes a woman feel, I can trust this man. I want to be near him. I can truly rest in his presence. Because here's the truth, a truth many people miss. Women don't fall for the performance. They fall for the energy. And that energy isn't built in the gym or in your bank account. It's built in your psyche. Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human soul, actually left us a map for this. He showed that the male psyche is layered, rich, and full of hidden depths. And when those depths are ignored, when a man only focuses on polishing his surface, women can feel it. They sense that something crucial is missing. But when those depths are explored and integrated, when a man becomes whole, the energy he carries becomes magnetic. That's the journey we're about to take together. We'll walk with Jung through the shadow, the persona, the archetypes, the anima, and the process of individuation. By the end of this video, you will understand something most men never learn. Women are not drawn to performance. They are drawn to integration. So let's begin this exploration into what truly creates lasting attraction. So, what is this integration we're talking about? It starts with acknowledging something Jung called the shadow. The shadow is the part of ourselves we often try to hide, our insecurities, our fears, our less than perfect impulses. Society teaches us to suppress these things, to present a flawless front. But here's the paradox. The more you try to hide your shadow, the more it controls you from behind the scenes. It leaks out in subtle ways, in defensiveness, in unexplained anger, or in a general sense of being inauthentic. A man who hasn't faced his shadow feels fragile. He's constantly afraid of being found out. He puts on a mask, what Jung called the persona. This is the polished, successful, got-it-all-together version of himself he shows the world. But it's just a mask. Women are incredibly perceptive of this. They can feel the tension between the mask and the real person underneath. It creates a sense of unease, a feeling that they can't fully trust what they're seeing. On the other hand, a man who has started to integrate his shadow is different. He's not perfect, and he knows it. He has looked at his flaws, his fears, and his darker side, not to indulge them, but to understand them. He's accepted that they are a part of him. This self-acceptance radiates a powerful, calming energy. It tells a woman, this man is not afraid of himself, so he won't be afraid of my complexities either. He is grounded. He is real. This authenticity is incredibly attractive because it creates a space for genuine connection, a space where both people can be their true selves without fear of judgment. Now, let's dive deeper into the archetypes. Jung identified several universal patterns, or archetypes, that exist within the male psyche. Think of them as internal characters: the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. A well-integrated man doesn't just embody one of these. He has access to all of them. The problem is, many men get stuck. Some are all warrior competitive, driven, but lacking in emotional depth. Others are all lover charming and fun, but maybe lacking direction and stability. The king archetype provides order, integrity, and a sense of purpose. He is the centered leader of his own life. The warrior brings discipline, courage, and the ability to protect and strive for goals. The magician represents knowledge, introspection, and the ability to see things from a higher perspective. And the lover connects with passion, emotion, and the beauty in the world. A man who is just a warrior might be successful, but he may come across as cold or emotionally unavailable. A man who is only a king might be responsible, but rigid and boring. A woman isn't looking for one of these roles. She's attracted to the man who can fluidly move between them. The man who can be a fierce protector one moment, a deeply empathetic partner the next, and a wise guide when needed. This psychological flexibility is a sign of true maturity and wholeness. It shows he has a rich inner world, and that is far more captivating than any single one-dimensional performance. This brings us to one of Jung's most fascinating concepts, the anima. The anima is the inner feminine aspect within the male psyche. It's the source of a man's capacity for relationship, his intuition, his creativity, and his emotional life. For many men, the anima is completely unconscious. They project it onto the women in their lives, expecting a woman to carry all the emotional weight, to be their muse, their sole source of comfort and connection. This puts an impossible burden on the relationship and leaves the man feeling incomplete on his own. When a man starts to connect with his own anima, a profound shift happens. He stops looking for a woman to complete him. Instead, he learns to nurture his own emotional world. He becomes more intuitive, more creative, more connected to his own feelings. He's no longer afraid of vulnerability because he sees it as a source of strength, not weakness. This is the man a woman can have a true partnership with. He doesn't just see her as a role to be filled. He sees the individual, because he's already in touch with the qualities within himself that allow for deep, soulful connection. His energy is no longer needy or demanding. It's whole and inviting. He offers a relationship between two complete individuals, not two halves trying to make a whole. This is the ultimate goal of Jung's process of individuation, becoming a complete, integrated self. Let us start with the great psychologist Carl Jung always insisted we must begin in the shadows. Every single one of us has a shadow. It is not just about the bad things you've done or some kind of moral darkness. It's much deeper. It's the collection of everything you push away, everything you refuse to admit about yourself, everything you repress. What's in there? Fear, anger, insecurity, even longing, even tenderness. It is anything and everything you've decided doesn't fit the image of the man you think you should be. Society tells us, be strong, don't be afraid. Be confident, don't show insecurity. Be cool, calm, and collected, don't get angry. So, we take all those parts of ourselves, lock them in a box, and shove it into the deepest, darkest corner of our minds. But here's the truth, and this is crucial. Women can feel it. They can sense when you're hiding something. They can feel it when your smile is just a mask for insecurity. They can feel it when your bravado is just a flimsy cover for deep-seated fear. They can feel it when that laid-back charm is just a way of avoiding the anger you've never dared to express. Energy doesn't lie. A man might think, if I hide my flaws, if I just show my best side, I'll look stronger and more attractive. But the exact opposite is true. The more you suppress, the more you push down, the weaker and more hollow your presence feels. It's like you're a ghost in your own life. Because what truly draws people in, what creates that magnetic, grounded presence isn't perfection. Women aren't just drawn to the parts of you that shine. They are drawn to the man who owns his wholeness, light asterisk and asterisk shadow. Let's paint a picture. Imagine two men walk into a room. The first guy is polished. He laughs loudly, shakes every hand with a firm grip, and isn't shy about bragging about his success. He's putting on a show, but if you watch closely, you can sense an edge. His eyes dart around, checking to see who's watching. His voice strains just a little, like the whole act is a performance. It depends on no one noticing the cracks just beneath the surface. He's holding it all together with sheer force of will. Now, picture the second man. He's quieter. He doesn't feel the need to impress anyone. He's not the center of attention, but his presence fills the space in a different way. It's steady. It's grounded. It's like a mountain. You can feel that this is a man who has faced his own fears and doesn't need to hide them. He has wrestled with his demons and lived to tell the tale. He's comfortable in his own skin. Now, which man do you think women feel more magnetically drawn to? It's not the loud performance. It's almost never the loud performance. It's the quiet strength that comes from integration, from wholeness. Because here's the secret most men never learn. Women are not repelled by your shadow. They are not repelled by your fear, your anger, or your insecurity. They are repelled by your asterisk refusal to face it asterisk. They are repelled by the pretense, the mask, the inauthenticity that comes from hiding parts of yourself. When you disown these parts of yourself, they end up owning you. They bubble up in weird ways: passive aggression, anxiety, a need for constant validation. But when you claim them, when you face them and integrate them, they become your greatest strengths. They become fuel. Your anger, if you own it, isn't something to be ashamed of. It becomes fire. It transforms into passion, the power to protect what you love, and the ability to set healthy boundaries. It says, "This is who I am, and this is what I stand for." Your fear, if you face it, doesn't make you weak. It becomes humility. It becomes the ability to stay human, relatable, and real. It's what allows you to say, "I don't know," or "I need help," which is a sign of incredible strength. Your insecurity, if you integrate it, doesn't have to cripple you. It becomes depth. It becomes the ability to connect with others without pretense, because you've accepted your own imperfections. Let me tell you a story about a guy we'll call David. On the surface, David had everything going for him. Good job, decent looks, a lot of social charm. But his relationships never lasted. Women would be attracted to him at first, but after a few weeks or months, they'd inevitably pull away. He couldn't figure out why. One day, through some deep work in therapy, he had a breakthrough. He realized he had spent his entire life hiding his anger. As a little boy, he was told, "Good boys don't get angry." That's not how a gentleman behaves. So he learned to smile instead. He learned to charm. He learned to make jokes when he was really feeling frustrated or disrespected. But underneath it all, that repressed anger simmered. It was always there. And it leaked out. It leaked out in cutting sarcasm, in emotional avoidance, in a constant low-grade edge of tension that people around him could always feel, even if they couldn't name it. Once David learned to face his shadow, to finally admit to himself, "Yes, I have anger inside me, and it has something to teach me," his entire world began to transform. His anger, no longer suppressed and leaking out sideways, became a source of healthy boundaries. He learned to say no, calmly and firmly. He learned to express his needs directly instead of hinting at them. The women in his life felt his energy change completely. He no longer gave off the vibe of a man who was pretending. He radiated steadiness. He radiated authenticity. And that authenticity was incredibly magnetic. That's the power of the shadow, not when you hide it, but when you dare to bring it into the light. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what are you still hiding? What part of you have you decided is unacceptable? Is it a fear of failure that keeps you playing small? Is it shame from something in your past that you've never spoken about? Is it anger you've swallowed for years because you thought it was unmanly? What would it look like to stop running from it? What would it look like to turn around, face it, and ask, "What are you here to teach me?" How could it become part of your strength instead of a secret weakness that undermines you? Because when you integrate your shadow, your confidence is no longer a mask you put on. It becomes your truth. It radiates from you effortlessly. And truth, genuine truth, in a man is magnetic. The most attractive man in the room is rarely the loudest, the richest, or the flashest. He is the man who has faced his own darkness and learned to carry it with steady hands. That is the kind of energy that people feel on a primal level. That is where real, lasting attraction begins. Hey everyone, let's talk about something real. Let's talk about the kind of energy that truly captivates women. It's not about the car you drive or the job title you hold. It's something much deeper, something that starts where the performance ends. Carl Jung, a brilliant psychologist, had a term for this: the persona. The persona is the mask we wear for the world. We all have them. It's how we navigate social situations. You put on a professional mask at work, a casual one with friends. That's normal. The danger, however, is when the mask fuses with your identity, when you mistake the performance for your actual presence. Think about the masks that society hands to men from a young age. First, there's the alpha mask. This is the guy who's loud, dominant, and always needs to be the center of attention. Then you have the nice guy mask, always agreeable, constantly smiling, terrified of causing a ripple. And of course, there's the achiever mask. This one is all about success, polished appearances, and a constant performance of competence. Each of these masks comes with a whisper, a promise. Wear me, and you'll be accepted. Wear me, and you'll be safe. You'll be loved. But here is the truth that many men miss. Women can feel when a mask is just a mask. It's an intuitive thing. Imagine a guy at a party, fully decked out in his alpha persona. He's laughing just a bit too loudly, name-dropping, trying to steer every conversation. On the surface, it might look like unshakable confidence. But underneath, what do you really feel? You sense the insecurity, the desperate need for validation, the deep-seated fear of being invisible. The performance is a cover for the void. Or let's look at the nice guy. He's a master of accommodation. He nods, he smiles, he agrees with everything she says. He believes that if he can just be accommodating enough, he'll eventually win her affection. But what does she sense? She feels a lack of substance, a missing backbone. Where is he in the conversation? His mask of constant pleasantness often conceals a crippling fear of rejection, and that fear doesn't feel like strength. It feels like absence. His kindness isn't a choice, it's a defense mechanism. And then we have the achiever. He pulls up in the fancy car, casually mentions his job title, and lists his accomplishments like he's reading a resume. He's impressive on paper. But the performance is all external. What happens when he faces failure? What happens when that mask of success cracks under pressure? What's left? This is the fundamental flaw of performative confidence. It's borrowed power. It's fragile because it depends entirely on keeping the mask perfectly in place. Any challenge, any setback, and the whole illusion shatters. Authenticity, on the other hand, is different. Authenticity doesn't crumble under pressure because it isn't a performance. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's simply about being asterisk. It's about a deep alignment between what you think, what you feel, what you say, and what you do. There's no hidden agenda. There's no exhausting act to maintain. There's just you. And this is the paradox that many find hard to believe. Women are infinitely more drawn to this raw authenticity than to any polished performance. Why? Because authenticity radiates a profound sense of safety. It sends a clear message. I know who I am, flaws and all. I don't need to pretend to be someone else to earn your approval. This is why you sometimes see men who aren't the best looking or the wealthiest, yet they have this magnetic pull. Women are drawn to them because their presence feels solid, grounded, and real. It's not a mask. It's the man himself. That feeling of realness is incredibly attractive. Let me paint a picture for you with a quick story. Imagine two different first dates. On the first date, a man spends the entire evening rattling off his achievements. He's carefully curating his words, his stories, everything to impress her. He is performing the role of the achiever to perfection. Now, picture a second date. This man, at some point, looks at her and says, "You know, I've worked hard and built a decent career, but I'm still trying to figure out what truly fulfills me. He's not posturing. He's not trying to impress. He's sharing his truth. Now, which of those two men do you think she'll feel more connected to? Which one will she remember? It's the second one, almost every time. And the reason is simple. His honesty feels like strength. His vulnerability doesn't signal weakness. It signals trust. He's trusting her with a piece of his real self, and that act of sharing creates a genuine human connection, not a transaction based on a resume. This is the absolute core of attraction. It's not about the mask you can put on. It's about the man underneath it. So, I want to ask you directly, and I want you to be honest with yourself. What mask are you wearing? Are you the alpha? The nice guy? The achiever? Or maybe a combination of them all? And here is the more important question. What would it take for you to feel safe enough to set it down, even for a moment? Because the day you stop performing, the day you stop trying to be the man you think women want, is the day your real, authentic presence begins to emerge. And that presence, unpolished, unforced, and entirely your own, is the most powerful and attractive force you will ever possess. That is the foundation of a connection that lasts. Today, we're going deep. We're going to talk about something that goes far beyond pickup lines or trying to be someone you're not. We're talking about real, authentic masculine presence. You see, so many of us spend our lives performing confidence, performing success, performing strength. But here is the secret. The day you stop performing is the day your true presence begins to emerge. And that presence, unpolished, unforced, and totally authentic, is the foundation of a deep, lasting attraction. To really get this, we need to look at the work of Carl Jung and the 4 great archetypes of the male psyche. The king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. These aren't costumes you put on. They are powerful energies that already live inside every man, just waiting to be awakened and brought into balance. When they are, you radiate something that women feel on an instinctual level: safety, vitality, depth, and strength. Let's start with the king. The king archetype represents sovereignty, order, and stability. He doesn't rule through force or ego, but with a calm, centered presence and a clear vision. Think of a leader like Nelson Mandela, who emerged from prison not seeking revenge, but offering his nation a vision of unity and reconciliation. When you embody the king, you bring a sense of calm to every situation. Your energy communicates, "I've got this. This is my domain, and I create a space where everyone, including you, can thrive." For a woman, this energy feels like safety. It allows her to relax, knowing she is with a man who is grounded, reliable, and unshakable. Next, we have the warrior. The warrior is all about discipline, courage, and decisive action. This isn't about aggression for its own sake. It's about directed strength. Picture the firefighter running into a burning building, or the entrepreneur who risks everything to build something meaningful. The warrior's energy says, "I will stand for what's right. I will protect what matters. I will not back down when things get hard." Women feel this as direction and certainty. It's a strength she can lean on and trust completely. But a warrior without balance can become reckless or cold. That's why his strength must always serve the king's higher vision. Now, let's talk about the magician. The magician archetype is the energy of wisdom, insight, and transformation. He's the one who sees the hidden patterns, the one who understands things on a deeper level. Think of Merlin, guiding with his mysterious wisdom, or Leonardo da Vinci, blending art and science to reveal the wonders of the world. When you embody the magician, you bring depth to your interactions. You're not just strong, you're thoughtful. You don't just act, you understand the why behind it. Women experience this as mystery and intelligence. It makes them feel This man sees the world differently. I can learn from him. But a magician alone can become detached or even manipulative. His knowledge must serve a purpose greater than just being clever. It must serve the heart. And that brings us to our final archetype, the lover. The lover is the source of vitality, passion, and connection. He is the part of you that feels deeply, loves fully, and connects with the beauty of the world. Think of the passion of a great artist, the devotion in a poet's words, or simply the man who can look his partner in the eyes and make her feel completely seen, cherished, and alive. The lover's energy says, I am not afraid of intimacy. I am here, fully present, alive to this moment and to you. Women feel this as a magnetic fire, the spark that makes life exciting and meaningful. But the lover, if left unchecked, can become chaotic, driven purely by desire without direction. He needs the king's order and the warrior's discipline to ground his immense passion. So, do you see the bigger picture? A man who is only the king can feel rigid and distant. A man who is only the warrior can be aggressive and harsh. Only the magician, and he's detached and lost in his head. Only the lover, and he's unstable and unreliable. The real magic, the undeniable presence, comes from the man who can call on all four. The man who can lead with the calm vision of a king, act with the focused courage of a warrior, understand with the insight of a magician, and connect with the passionate heart of a lover. This is the whole integrated man. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. His presence does all the talking. And women, often without even knowing why, are drawn to that wholeness. It's a symphony of masculine energy, not just a single loud note. So I want you to ask yourself, which of these archetypes feels most natural to you? And more importantly, which one have you been neglecting? Where in your life can you start to cultivate more balance? Because that balance is where true, sustainable attraction is born. Not in the extremes, but in the integration of all that you are. Thanks for watching today. This is a deep topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which archetype resonates with you the most? If you got value from this, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on becoming the strongest version of yourself. See you in the next one. Have you ever met a man who just has this presence? He doesn't need to shout to be heard. He doesn't need to show off to be noticed. He walks into a room, and you just feel it. This is the man who embodies the archetypes of the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. His presence speaks for him. And women, often without even knowing why, are drawn to him. But the psychologist Carl Jung taught that there is another powerful force inside every man, one that most men are taught to fear and almost all of us ignore. He called it the anima, the inner feminine. Now, hold on. Before you click away, this isn't about losing your masculinity. It's about completing it. The anima is your capacity for empathy, your intuition, your ability to feel deeply, and your courage to be vulnerable. It's the gentle, flowing current beneath the hard surface of masculine strength. And here's the paradox. Men who reject their anima, who push it down, often become brittle. They put on a show of false bravado to compensate. But the men who learn to embrace it, they become deeply, undeniably magnetic. Think about the men you know who can't show emotion. They walk around in emotional armor, stoic, pretending that nothing can touch them. They've mistaken numbness for strength. But people, especially women, can feel the hollowness behind that mask. They sense the lack of depth, the absence of warmth. There's no real connection there. Then you have the other extreme. Men who try to completely drown their anima. They overcompensate with aggression, with arrogance. They puff out their chests, raise their voices, and demand to be the center of attention. But this isn't true strength either. It's a performance. And like any performance, it's fragile. It's born from insecurity, not confidence. Now, Contrast that with the man who isn't afraid of his own softness. The man who can look you in the eyes and truly listen, not just wait for his turn to speak. The man who has the courage to admit when he is hurting or when he has made a mistake. The one who can laugh from his belly, cry without shame, and love with an open heart. Does that man lose his masculinity? Absolutely not. He amplifies it. Think about it. Strength without any tenderness can be intimidating, even threatening. But strength combined with tenderness? That is irresistible. It's the difference between a rock and a mountain. A rock is just hard. A mountain is strong, but it also has valleys, streams, and life. History and mythology are filled with examples of this powerful balance. Look at Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of Rome, a commander of armies, a true warrior king. But he was also the philosopher who wrote in his private journals about humility, compassion, and the fragility of life. He was a warrior and a sage, but he was profoundly human. Or think about Odysseus from the ancient myths. Yes, he was cunning, strong, and a brilliant strategist. But a huge part of his legendary journey was driven by his deep, aching longing for home, for his wife, Penelope. His vulnerability, his love, was the fuel for his incredible strength and perseverance. It wasn't a weakness. It was his greatest power. We see this in modern life too. The leaders who truly inspire us aren't the ones who just bark orders and refuse to show any emotion. They're the ones who lead with both courage and heart. They connect with their people on a human level. Women often feel a man's connection to his anima instinctively. When a man is completely cut off from it, she might feel he's closed off, hard, unreachable. It's like talking to a wall. But when he has integrated that inner feminine, she feels seen. She feels safe, not just because he's strong enough to protect her, but because he's present enough to connect with her. True attraction isn't just about the man who can conquer the world. It's about the man who can connect with another soul. So, I want you to ask yourself a few honest questions. Where are you still afraid of your own softness? Do you hide your empathy because you've been told it makes you weak? Do you numb your feelings because you grew up hearing that real men don't cry? Do you mistake being emotionally distant for being strong? What if, instead, you started to embrace your anima, not as a weakness, but as the key to your wholeness? Because the truth is simple. A man who owns his inner feminine becomes more of a man, not less. He is no longer brittle. He is no longer compensating with a fragile ego. He becomes strong, steady, and alive with a depth that is profoundly attractive. And that kind of authentic presence, more than any bravado or performance, is what people are truly drawn to. It's the source of true, unshakable confidence. We often talk about what makes a man attractive. Is it confidence? Charisma? A certain kind of performance? We're told to be strong, to be successful, to project an image of having it all together. But what if the most powerful form of attraction isn't about performance at all? What if it's about something much deeper, something authentic? Today, we are diving into one of the most profound ideas from psychology, Carl Jung's, as concept of individuation, and exploring how it unlocks a level of confidence and presence that is magnetic in a way that simple bravado can never be. Let's start here. Bravado and performance are often what men think women are drawn to. But in reality, what truly captivates is authenticity. And according to Jung, this authenticity isn't just about being yourself. It's about becoming yourself. This is the journey of individuation. So, what is it? Individuation is the process of becoming whole. It's not about being perfect or flawless. It's about integrating all the different parts of you, the good, the bad, the light, and the shadow into one unified self. Think of it like this. Many men live in fragments. There's the work version of you, the friends version, the dating version. We put on different masks, or what Jung called the persona, for different situations. We hide the parts of ourselves we're ashamed of: our fears, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. This is what Jung called the shadow. But individuation is the moment you stop picking and choosing which parts to show. It's the moment you say, "This is all of me. My strength and my softness, my ambition and my fear, my light and my shadow." You stop performing. Why is this so attractive? Because people, especially women, can feel the difference instantly. When a man is hiding parts of himself, there's a subtle tension. You can sense the split. He might be charming, but you feel the insecurity simmering just beneath the surface. He might act tough, but you can sense the loneliness behind his armor. The performance creates a dissonance, a feeling that something doesn't quite add up. It's like listening to a song that's slightly out of tune. You might not know exactly what's wrong, but you feel it. But when a man has begun the journey of individuation, his energy is different. It's settled. It's calm, steady, and complete. He's faced his shadow, so he's not afraid of his own darkness or yours. He's loosened his grip on his persona, so he's not constantly trying to manage your perception of him. He has acknowledged his feminine side, his anima, in Jungian terms, so he's not just a caricature of masculinity. He has access to empathy, creativity, and emotional depth. He has balanced his internal archetypes, so he's not just the warrior or just the king, but a well-rounded man. This integrated state radiates a quiet strength. It's a strength that doesn't need to shout or prove itself. He's no longer scrambling for external validation because his sense of self comes from within. He's not trying to fill a void. He simply is asterisk. This creates a feeling of safety and trust. It signals that he is reliable, not just in his actions, but in his very being. You know that what you see is what you get. Think of it like a circle. If you only draw parts of it in arc here, a straight line there, it feels incomplete and unstable. But when the circle is closed, there is harmony, balance, and wholeness. Individuation is the process of closing your own circle. It's about gathering all the scattered pieces of yourself and bringing them together into a coherent whole. This journey is mirrored in myths and stories from all over the world. The hero's journey is almost always a story of individuation. The hero must descend into the underworld, face monsters, which are really just metaphors for his own inner demons and shadows, and gather lost parts of himself. Only then can he return, transformed. He's no longer the naive boy who left home, but the whole man who has integrated his experiences. Think of Hercules and his labors, or Odysseus and his long journey home. We even see this in our modern myths. Look at characters like Batman, Iron Man, or Luke Skywalker. Their stories aren't just about them gaining power. They're about them confronting their darkness, their trauma, and their vulnerability. Bruce Wayne must integrate the darkness of his past to become Gotham's protector. Tony Stark has to reconcile his arrogance with his desire to do good. Luke Skywalker must face the shadow represented by his father, Darth Vader, to become a true Jedi Master. The deep attraction we feel for these characters isn't just about their superpowers. It's about their journey toward wholeness. So, this brings the question back to you. Where in your life are you still fragmented? Are you actively avoiding your shadow, pretending your fears and insecurities don't exist? Are you still clinging tightly to a persona, a mask you wear for the world, afraid of what people would think if they saw the real you? Have you silenced your anima, that intuitive, feeling part of yourself, because you were taught that real men don't have feelings? The journey of individuation isn't a one-and-done event. It's a lifelong process of unfolding and integration. But every single step you take on that path deepens your presence. Every piece of yourself that you reclaim and accept strengthens your inner foundation, and as a result, your natural magnetism. It's about doing the inner work through journaling, therapy, meditation, or simply honest self-reflection. It is about having the courage to look at the parts of you that you've been avoiding. Because at the end of the day, what people are truly drawn to isn't the perfect man. It's not a dominant man. It's not the man with the best performance. It's an integrated man. A whole man. A man who has walked through his own inner labyrinth and has come back with all the pieces of himself intact. That kind of presence radiates a strength and calm that is unmistakable. It communicates, without words, I am not hiding from myself, so I am not hiding from you. I am not performing. I am whole. And that wholeness, that deep, unshakable authenticity, is more attractive than any mask you could ever wear. We often talk about what makes a man attractive. Is it his looks, his money, his sense of humor? These things matter, sure, but they're just pieces of a much larger puzzle. The real secret, the thing that truly and deeply draws women in, is wholeness. But what does that even mean? The great psychologist Carl Jung pointed to something profound at the very core of our being. He saw a critical distinction within our psyche, the difference between the ego and the self. Understanding this is a game changer, not just for dating, but for your entire life. So let's start with the ego. The ego is that part of you, that voice in your head that constantly craves control. It's hungry for validation. It desperately wants to be seen as strong, admired, and respected. The ego is always asking questions like, do they like me? Do I measure up to that guy? Am I winning this social game? And if we're being honest, so much of modern dating advice for men is stuck right here, in the realm of the ego. Think about it. The ego is what drives a man to flex in the gym mirror, not just for health, but for likes. It's the ego that buys the flashy car, hoping it will turn heads. It's the ego that drops impressive-sounding job titles into conversations. The ego is a performer. It's always on stage, putting on a show, trying to win an invisible competition. And you know what? Sometimes it works. For a night, maybe. It can get you some superficial attention. But it's a house of cards. It never lasts. Why? Because the ego is incredibly fragile. The second someone else in the room is stronger, richer, or more charismatic, the ego panics and collapses. The confidence that was built on external validation evaporates because it was never rooted in any real internal truth. It was just a performance. Now, contrast this with the self. The self is something entirely different. It's a deeper, more stable center. The self isn't concerned with performance or comparison. It's not playing a game. The self is the core of your being, that quiet, confident part of you that knows, without needing any external proof, I am already enough. This isn't arrogance. It's a deep, unshakable sense of intrinsic worth. When a man learns to live from this place, from his self, everything changes. He doesn't feel the compulsive need to impress anyone. He can walk into a room and not feel pressured to dominate the conversation to feel secure. He's not competing for little scraps of attention because he's already whole. His presence itself becomes the statement. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. And women feel this almost instantly. It's a palpable energy. A man who is aligned with his self radiates an effortless, quiet confidence. He carries a calm magnetism that's incredibly attractive. He doesn't need to chase because he's secure in who he is. He doesn't need to boast about his accomplishments because his worth isn't tied to them. He is grounded. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two men sitting at a table in a bar. The first man is leaning forward, speaking loudly, telling exaggerated stories about his adventures and successes. He's constantly trying to prove how interesting, successful, and desirable he is. His energy is practically screaming, please notice me. Please validate me. Tell me I'm good enough. He's broadcasting neediness. Now, the second man. He's sitting back, relaxed in his chair. He's not trying to command the spotlight. He's an active listener, genuinely interested in what others have to say. When he does speak, it's because he has something real and thoughtful to contribute, not just to fill the silence. His energy is completely different. It says, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I am who I am. Now, which of these two men do you think a woman is more likely to be drawn to? It's not the one who is desperately scrambling for her approval. It's the one who is calm, centered, and aligned with his self. This is the reason why some men, who may not have extraordinary looks, immense wealth, or high status, are still undeniably magnetic. They possess a charisma that has nothing to do with external markers of success. Their secret is that they don't rely on ego performance. Their confidence doesn't come from their bank account or their job title. It flows from a much deeper internal wellspring. The self is steady, timeless, and untouchable by external circumstances. The ego, on the other hand, is restless, anxious, and fragile, always at the mercy of outside opinions. And here is the fundamental truth that can change everything for you. The more you cling to your ego and its need for validation, the more genuine attraction will slip through your fingers. The neediness repels what you seek. But the more you work on anchoring yourself in your authentic self, the more natural, grounded, and powerful your presence will become. You stop trying to get something from others, and start simply being yourself. So, this is the question I want you to ask yourself today. Are you spending your life chasing validation, or are you learning to rest in your own truth? Are you constantly building up a fragile ego that is destined to crumble, or are you investing in aligning with the self that endures through all of life's ups and downs? Because at the end of the day, the most magnetic man isn't the one who forces everyone to pay attention to him. It's the one whose very being, whose calm and steady presence whispers, I am enough. I am whole. I am here. That is true power. That is true attraction. Have you ever noticed those men who just seem to have an invisible pull? They walk into a room, and without saying much, they command a certain respect, a certain attention. It's not about being the loudest or the most aggressive. It's something deeper, something quieter. Carl Jung, one of the great thinkers of the 20th century, spent his life exploring the depths of the human psyche, and what he found can completely change how you see yourself and how others, especially women, see you. What makes a man truly magnetic? It's not about forcing your way into the spotlight. It's not about proving your worth or demanding validation. The most magnetic man is the one whose very presence, whose very being, whispers, I am enough. I am whole. I am here. This isn't arrogance. It's a quiet confidence born from deep self-acceptance. It's a man who has stopped fighting with himself, who has looked at his own shadows and strengths and said, this is me. That kind of authenticity is incredibly rare. And because it's rare, it's incredibly attractive. It creates a sense of stability that people instinctively gravitate towards. But Jung noticed something else about life, something that goes beyond just our inner world. He noticed a strange, almost mystical connection between our minds and the world around us. He called this phenomenon synchronicity. You've probably experienced it yourself. It's that moment you're thinking about a friend you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly your phone rings, and it's them. It's when you're wrestling with a huge life decision, feeling lost and confused, and then a book seems to just fall off the shelf into your hands, holding the exact wisdom you needed to hear. Or maybe you're at a major crossroads, unsure which path to take, and life sends you a clear sign, a conversation you overhear, an unexpected opportunity, a song on the radio that points you in the right direction. Most men and most people in general brush these moments off as simple chance or pure coincidence. What a fluke, they say, and move on. But Jung saw something much more profound. He believed these weren't random accidents. He saw them as signals, as evidence that your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions, and the outer world are beginning to align. They are clues that you are moving in harmony with the flow of life, not struggling against it. It's as if the universe is conspiring with you, giving you little nudges and winks to let you know you're on the right track. Now, here's what's truly fascinating about this, especially when it comes to attraction. Women feel this alignment in you. They might not be able to put a name to it. They might not say, "Oh, he's experiencing synchronicity," but they sense the energy it creates. Think about it. A man who is frantic, constantly trying to force outcomes, trying to bend every situation and every person to his will. What does his energy feel like? It's scattered. It's anxious. It's heavy. He grips everything so tightly because deep down, he doesn't trust the process. He doesn't trust himself, and he doesn't trust life to meet him halfway. Being around him can feel draining, like you're caught in his storm of anxiety. But now, contrast that with a man who understands and trusts alignment. A man who listens to his intuition, that quiet inner voice. A man who pays attention to those meaningful coincidences, those synchronicities, and sees them as guideposts. He moves with life instead of trying to fight it. What kind of energy does he radiate? Ease, calm, a centered strength, and that sense of ease is profoundly magnetic. It sends a powerful, unspoken message to a woman. This man is not desperate. He is not clinging to me or to any specific outcome. He is connected to something bigger. He trusts himself and the path he's on. Think about the men you've then known in your own life, who always seem to be in the right place at the right time. The ones who stumble into amazing opportunities, meet the perfect people, and seem to navigate life with a graceful effortlessness. We often chalk this up to luck. He's just a lucky guy, we say. But is it really just luck? Or is it alignment? Jung would argue it's the latter. It's their willingness to pay attention to the subtle currents of life. It's their courage to act when their intuition calls, even if it doesn't make logical sense at the moment. And just as importantly, it's their wisdom to release control when they know that forcing an issue will only create more resistance. They understand the dance between taking action and letting go. This kind of presence, this tuned-in awareness, is deeply attractive because it feels safe. It's not the safety of a fortress, but the safety of a harbor. It feels alive, dynamic, and responsive. Being with a man who is aligned feels like being with someone who is plugged into a source of energy that is larger than his own ego. He isn't trying to draw power from you or from his achievements. His power comes from his connection to the flow of life itself. This creates a space where a woman can relax, be herself, and feel that she is with a partner who is navigating life with wisdom, not just brute force. So, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself honestly, are you gripping too tightly? Are you trying to control every outcome in your career, your relationships, your life? Are you living in a state of constant push, feeling exhausted and wondering why things aren't working out the way you planned? Or are you willing to try a different approach? Are you willing to trust the flow? To start listening to that quiet voice of your intuition? To start noticing the synchronicities, the meaningful signals that life is giving you every single day? Are you willing to learn to move with life's currents instead of constantly swimming against them? Because when you make that shift, everything changes. Your entire energy signature transforms. You no longer radiate the frequency of anxiety and lack. You begin to radiate a frequency of calm confidence and abundance. You stop forcing things to happen, and you start allowing them to unfold. You become a collaborator with life, not a combatant against it. And as you do, you'll find that people, and especially women, are naturally drawn to that rhythm. They are drawn to it because it feels like peace. It feels like strength. It feels like coming home. This isn't about being passive. This isn't about sitting back and waiting for life to hand you everything on a silver platter. It's about a dynamic balance. It's about taking inspired action when the moment is right, and having the wisdom to be still when it's not. It's about developing a deep trust in yourself and in the unfolding process of your own life. It's a journey from the head to the heart, from control to trust, from force to flow. And it's on this journey that you'll discover the most authentic, powerful, and magnetic version of yourself. The man who doesn't need to chase because he himself has become a destination. When you truly let go, something amazing happens. Your energy shifts. That frantic, anxious vibe you've been putting out, it dissolves, replaced by a deep, grounded calm. You stop trying to force things to happen, and instead, you start allowing them to unfold. And let me tell you, people, especially women, are incredibly drawn to that rhythm. It feels like peace. It feels safe. And that brings our entire journey full circle. Remember where we started? We began by looking into the shadow, all those hidden parts of you, the fears, the anger, the insecurities that you've tried to push down. We learned that when you deny them, they actually make you weaker. But when you face them, when you integrate them, they become a source of incredible power and authenticity. You become real. Then we peeled back the persona, the masks we all wear. The alpha male, the nice guy, the overachiever. We saw how these masks crack under the slightest pressure. Why? Because women aren't interested in the performance. They're drawn to the real man underneath all of that. They want to connect with you, not your act. From there, we stepped into the powerful archetypes, the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. The key wasn't to be just one of them, but to find the balance between all four. This is what gives a man depth, strength, wisdom, and a true zest for life. The king provides order, the warrior gives you discipline, the magician offers wisdom, and the lover connects you to passion and joy. We then embraced the anima, your inner feminine. This isn't about being less of a man. It's about being more of a whole human. This is the source of your ability to feel, to truly listen, to connect on an emotional level. It's where your empathy comes from, creating a magnetic presence that goes far beyond simple bravado or tough guy posturing. All of this leads to what Carl Jung called individuation. It's the process of weaving all these different parts of yourself together into a seamless whole. You're no longer a fragmented collection of conflicting desires and fears. You become integrated, radiating a quiet strength and an unshakable calm that is profoundly attractive. We went even deeper, connecting with the self, that core of your being that exists beyond the ego. This is where true confidence lives. It's not something you have to fake or perform. It becomes a simple fact of your existence. Your very presence begins to whisper, "I am enough." You don't need anyone's approval because you are already whole. And finally, we touched on the magic of synchronicity and flow. This is the art of trusting the process of life, of moving in alignment with your true purpose. It's about radiating a sense of ease instead of desperately trying to control every outcome. You're no longer swimming against the current. You're flowing with it. So after all this, what does it really mean for attraction? It means that women aren't drawn to the mask, the bravado, or the shallow performance of confidence you think they want. They are drawn to the man who has embodied his full, authentic masculine energy, the shadow and the light, the strength and the softness, the discipline and the passion, the self and the flow. They are irresistibly drawn to the man who doesn't need to chase validation because he is already living in his own wholeness. He is his own source of approval. So here is the final thought I want to leave with you today. Stop chasing women. Stop chasing approval. Stop chasing the performance of confidence. Instead, turn inward. Do the work. Become whole. Face your shadow. Drop the mask. Balance your archetypes. Embrace your anima. Walk the path of individuation. Anchor yourself in your true self and learn to trust the flow of your life. Do this, and you will never have to chase again. Your energy, your very presence, will do the attracting for you. Because true, powerful masculine presence is never forced. It is lived. It is embodied. And when you embody it, everyone, especially the women you want to attract, will feel it. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on becoming the most authentic, powerful version of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.